Active learning can enrich your life in a way that very few things can. Learning something new can give you a sense of fulfillment and purpose, which can benefit your life greatly. In today's information age, you can easily learn things yourself. This provides a great sense of achievement as you turn a desire to learn into tangible results. In today's video, I'm going to attempt just that. But first, let's make some coffee. Nothing like French press coffee in the morning. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a video that's a little bit different than my usual videos, but that's a great thing. I'm really excited about it because this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. As you know, I don't claim to be an expert with any of the car stuff that I do, such as like the mods on my M3 or anything with the motorcycles. I'm not an expert, but one major part of this channel is me learning skills. Today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be teaching myself how to weld. So one of the things I'm going to be doing here very soon is welding the rear frame hoop of my Honda CB650. It's going to be really cool because it's going to clean up the rear end and make way for a super cool seat that I've purchased. I have everything ready. I just need to know how to weld. So as you guys saw, I brought out this welder that I just bought. It actually wasn't super expensive. It was just over $100, and it comes with all of the very, very basic stuff that you need to weld right out of the box. So that's good for me. So today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to set up the welder, and I'm going to try and kind of get some rudimentary welds going and just kind of teach myself. This is definitely not going to be a how-to video because I really have no idea what I'm doing. This is just more kind of for you guys' entertainment and maybe just for some encouragement if you kind of want to learn how to weld or do any of the sort of skills that I want to do. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to open up the box and we'll start setting stuff up. At first, I was a little nervous about setting up the welder, but it was actually pretty self-explanatory. And when I was unsure about something, I did what many people try to avoid, reading the directions. Alrighty, so I got the welder set up over there, and now it's time to kind of practice welding. So what I've got is I've got some just kind of scrap metal and tubing. So I've got a couple L brackets like this, and I've got a metal tube because that's what I'm going to be using this welder for mainly, is welding motorcycle tube framing. So these are different thicknesses. The welder has supplied guidelines for what you should be setting the welder to with different thicknesses. So that's good. I'll follow those guides, maybe kind of adjust it as I go. But first we need to cut this so I have something to weld back together. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay guys, so we've got some metal pieces cut here. I cut these L brackets. I had a couple of them, so I cut a couple of them. And I also cut this tubing, so we've got some stuff to practice on. I don't really have a welding jacket or anything because I've never welded before, so I guess I'm gonna use this old 60s, 70s Air Force jacket that I had from my days of paintballing and stuff, so hopefully that'll be enough protection. Also picked up some cheap, like $5 welding gloves, and the welder actually came with a mask that you can hold to your face. Not the best thing in the world, but if you're not going to be welding all the time, I think this will do. So let's try it out, and let's hope I don't electrocute myself or something. Fingers crossed. Okay guys, well, I guess this is technically a first weld. It's about the ugliest weld I've ever seen, but I got the machine working, I got the welder working, so that's a good first step. I wasn't expecting this to go smoothly at first, that's why we bought practice stuff. But I'll show you guys the first weld close up just so you can have something to laugh at. So here it is. It's very, very bad, but I mean, the metal's sticking together, so that's something, right? That's progress. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna set up another L bracket on this little clamp table here, and I'm gonna set it up long ways. That way I have a little more room to run a bead down the metal, and we'll see how that goes. I'll set that up, and you guys can watch. After a couple welds, I started getting used to simply working with the welder. This gave me a base I could work from and see what I was doing wrong. So after my first welds, I've kind of got some things that I think I can change to maybe make them a little bit better. The welder actually comes with this handy little guide here to show you what different welds look like and why they look the way they do. So you can tell a good weld from different bad welds. And my first weld looked a lot like this one that's at the end here, and it says the main problem with one like this is that the metal is sticking too far out of the gun. So I'm going to try and dial that back. I might also play with the tension of the welder, the tension of the metal that's being pulled through the welder, and see if that helps anything. I'm also going to slow it down a little bit because I don't have any real sleight of hand with welding yet, so maybe if I slow the speed down a little bit, that'll help too. So I've got more metal viced up here on the table, so let's do another round of welding. I found that for me, one of the hardest parts of welding was getting into a comfortable position to work. Once I got there though, I felt like I was making progress. I would say that's a lot better. I gained some confidence, which led me to start rushing. This was not good because it caused some minor mishaps. It was time for a break.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Alrighty guys, well, I've been laying down some welds and doing a little practice, and I've actually made some pretty good improvements, I think. My welds are very far from perfect. They're still pretty ugly, in fact, but they are a lot straighter, and I think they've penetrated all the way through the metal, so they're actually structurally sound now. I'm going to start welding this tubing together, because that's really what I'm practicing this for, is to weld tubing on my motorcycle frame. This is a little bit thinner than what the motorcycle frame will be, so this really is just more for practice on welding a circular shape instead of just a straight flat piece of metal. But I think combining this practice with the practice on the thicker steel will have me pretty well set up to weld this motorcycle frame. So I'll get these viced up and we can get started. When I started welding the tubing, I learned just how greatly one or two variables like shape or thickness can change the outcome of your welds. Alright, well, like I said, this round metal tubing was made out of a thinner metal, and I burned right through it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to turn down the settings on this welder, turn down the output a little bit. But first, what I'm gonna do before I start up again, since I just burned a hole right through my one cut that I made, I'm gonna make another cut right down the middle here, and then I'm gonna try and weld that up with the new settings on the welder. So let's cut this real quick. Alright, well, that was a hard day's work, but I'm pretty happy with the progress that I made learning how to weld. I was able to successfully weld flat metal and metal tubing together, although these aren't the prettiest welds at all. They're very far from pretty welds, but functional. And that's pretty good for one day of learning. I think this was a really successful and really good first attempt at welding. And that honestly is probably all that I really need to be prepared to weld that motorcycle frame. But I'll probably do a little bit more welding in the days to come before I actually get to the frame, just to make sure that I have the right skills for the job. But yeah, I'm really happy with the results that I got in one day of learning how to weld, because welding's kind of a daunting and scary thing to learn how to do, at least at first when you haven't done it before. Like I said, this wasn't a how-to video. I really just wanted to show you guys that you can do something like this, that it's not impossible to teach yourself a skill like welding or doing electric wiring or anything like that. And I want to do more videos like this on the channel because, like I said, that's kind of one of the main reasons I wanted to start working on motorcycles and cars, is because it helps build those skills. So if you're interested in taking up welding or something like that, I highly recommend it. And teach yourself, because all the knowledge you need to do something like this is out there on the internet, whether it be on YouTube or on forums. But there's guides and directions on how to do any one of these technical skills if you want to learn how to do it. Also, I know my welds were far from pretty, so if you have any pointers, if you know how to weld and you have any pointers for me, go ahead and leave those down in the comments and I'll take a look at them, and hopefully that'll help me build my welding skills. So coming up next on the channel, you can expect to see me welding the hoop on the back of my motorcycle frame, so that I can fit my new seat. I'm super excited for that because it's going to make the bike look awesome. Also, expect to see more of these sort of skill building videos on the channel because I really enjoy doing them, and it's really fun to be able to teach yourself how to do stuff. Well, that's all I have for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe down below because that really helps the channel out. Also, leave it a like, and if you want to, you can pick up an Enjoy the Road shirt from my store. It's in the description down below. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, enjoy the road.